Today we're going to talk about communications. And it's a really interesting topic for me because I think the reason I'm sitting here in front of you today as the guy who created Brill Media, and the reason I've spent 15 years in the digital advertising business is because I'm fundamentally fascinated by the way people communicate. In fact, the reason I'm in this business, I'll tell you a little bit of a story. Um, I grew up loving movies, and I thought I want to have an impact on on the world. And that impact isn't, hey, I want, it wasn't, Robert Brill should be a movie star or a musician or an entertainer of some sort. And probably that never occurred to me because I don't have the talent to any of those things. Um, but I knew I wanted to have an impact on the world. And I thought, okay, the way I'm going to do that is through mass communications. It sounds silly, but like as a teenager, I was thinking, it's fascinating to me, product placement in movies. Like who are the people who made that happen that got a brand in a movie so that it could be seen by millions of people all around the country and potentially all around the world. And then I, simultaneously discovered, the internet when I was 14 and got a computer, and it was like a $2,000, big old computer, with a separate keyboard and a separate mouse and a separate monitor and a separate like body containing the CPU and all that, with like 214 megabytes of hard drive space, right? So that's smaller than most USB drives at this point, right? Like we're exponentially have more space and computing power in our pockets than I did on an entire desktop. I discovered the computer. So these things simultaneously converged. And my father didn't, my father passed away in 2010. And I realized when he died that, he never got into computers. Like he died not knowing how to turn on a computer. He was older. He died in his, early 70s. And so he just never made that leap from the technology before to the technology that sort of was arising as computers were becoming important, right? So I was like, holy cow, I want to make an impact. You have computers, you have all the communications possibility that exists in computers, and you have a man in my father who doesn't believe in that, doesn't believe in the possibilities that exist in the computer and the communications and the connections and the sales and the brand building. And as we know today in 2019, the fundamental nature of reality is communications. It's social. It's being able to connect with people by augmenting our human selves with technology, with our mobile phone, with our computer, and soon with, contact lenses and virtual reality and whatever the case might be, right? So communications, this was a roundabout way of saying that communications to me is extremely interesting, right? So what I'm actually talking about today is B2B or enterprise communications, because this is very important. And I think it's interesting because as a business owner, I can do a good job of selling. Like I, or somehow the universe conspires to get me in front of the right people, um, getting in front of the right people, I can say the right things, and I'll say that they're the things that I believe in, that I believe are the truth, that I feel confidently in. I know the things that are probably going to be able to move the needle in terms of driving business results for a client, whether it's a B2B advertiser or a business to consumer advertiser, whether it's a restaurant or a marijuana company or a betting advertiser or a health organization, whatever the case might be. I know the things that need to happen so that you can put your business in front of the right consumers and generate leads, generate sales, generate awareness, generate reach, get people to buy your product in the store. I know the solutions for those business challenges that you have. And so like that, with that in mind, we're fundamentally an investment. We're an investment firm. Our business is an investment firm. We're not investing money in stocks, bonds, and ETFs or cryptocurrencies. We're investing money into messaging to elicit a business result. But in the same way, we're investment people. We're investment managers, right? So I know the right things based on the types of things that a person says to me. I know what they're interested in, and I know what is likely to move the needle for their business. So I'm relatively good at selling. We don't have a sales apparatus. We rely primarily on our partners to sell, but you get me in front of a person who has a business challenge. I can tell them how to solve that challenge with paid media. Okay, not social media marketing, not emails, not creating funnels, and frankly, not even developing creative, but paid media. So I'm good at that. And we as an organization are good at that. Otherwise, we wouldn't have an organization. We'd still be a smaller organization with fewer people. Now, when you think about the bit, like from a communications perspective, there's three things. There's the sales element. Okay, so we've achieved the sale. The clients are on board. The campaign is running. There's the operational work, running the campaign, setting up the prospecting, setting up the targeting, optimizing the campaign, looking at the data, identifying which data sets are performing well, which sites are driving the results, which placements are doing well across Facebook, etc. And the part that I think is also very interesting that we're developing and still refining is that the merchandising of that work. Because we do the work. We're really good at the work. We're really good at optimizing campaigns. We're really good at setting up and setting tests and identifying what works and what doesn't. So now what's important is paying attention to the merchandising of that work. The fact that we're aggressively optimizing campaigns, you might as well not be doing anything if you're not communicating what you're doing to the client. Like if a tree falls in a forest, does it actually even make a sound, right? Like if you're optimizing the campaign, but you don't give the client the type of information they want to know about the business and the optimizations, like you can give them top level. If the client's interested in top level, you're good. If they want granular, you got to give them granular. And so the question is really, well, number one, identifying the type of communication a client needs. And number two, acclimating to that. And overall, the sort of third element there is ensuring that you're on the offense rather than being on the defense. Because if you get on the defense, you can't win on defense. You can not lose, but you really can't win on defense. The way you win is on offense, right? So the way you get on defense is you get on client calls and you answer questions. The way you get on offense is you send the client conversation, texts or emails with data about the campaign. And you send that to them unsolicited. And you send that to them midweek because you saw something interesting on the campaign, right? That's the offense of merchandising. That's the merchandising of your business. Now, if you say the same information with maybe a little bit less granularity once a week on a call, now all of a sudden you're on the defense, and that's not good. You never want to be on the defense. You want to be on the offense, right? So the challenges with merchandising are understanding exactly how the client wants to be communicated, because if you bombard them with information, they might just be like, does it work or does it not work? Or if you send them too little information, it's like, what are you guys doing? Some clients want to be communicated to every 24 hours. And if you don't communicate them within 24 hours, they say, what's wrong with the campaign? Others like a weekly cadence, and others like just looking at the dashboard and having impromptu calls once every 2.5 weeks, right? So I think as a business owner, merchandising your work is critically important. It's part of the sales process. It's part of it's part of ensuring you develop ongoing confidence with your client. And I think it's important to instill that within any organization. So this is what's on my mind today. Talk to you soon.